centre quickly. Judd goes a second time. Beautiful handball from Judd to Williams. He sets up for another goal, but that was Chris Judd's goal.
Now what can you do, Chris Judd? You can kick a goal! Magnificent play by the Eagles.
Here's Chris Judd on debut. Inside 50. Steadies. Sees a player in the goal square. Great vision. Goal, Wilson. And he's got a head on his shoulder for someone playing his first game.
Gee, I think we're seeing a star of the future here today. That is poise under pressure.
Here's Judd. He can take it. He can straighten up and go bang!
My advice to all players, go when there's a little bit left.
Well, that comment from Mick Malthouse was analysed to within an inch of its life. We can find out just how the tank is right now and what the gauge says. Welcome to you, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
How is the gauge? Is there enough left to go on? Because from what I saw on the weekend, you should be signing a multi-year deal.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I hope so. I agree with Mick. I certainly want to leave when there's a little bit left in the tank, but not when there's sort of half a tank left. So I spoke with the club today and going to go on next year. So we've got to get through the next 3 games and have a clean bill of health at the end of the season. But barring any unforeseen injury, we'll be back in next year.
You bounced into the studio. I haven't seen you do that in all of your time here. You look as if you're a refreshed man. You've got a beaming smile on the face. You look like you found God, maybe.
Well, Mike said I've got 2 young kids at home, so I've just played it smart and signed a contract to get out of looking after them for another year. So, but really excited about it. It's, the footy club's starting to turn a bit of a corner and playing some decent footy. So, things are good.
Congratulations, mate. Great decision. Great for all the Carlton fans. They'll love it. But I suspect it's been a major mind shift for you. If you cast your mind back when you had a slow start of the season, first game back, you tore the hammy. I reckon in the mind at that particular stage, you might have thought, I've just about had enough.
Yeah, I mean, 4 or 5 months ago, I'd made the decision to retire, and was really definitive on it and clear, and for a number of reasons thought it was the right decision. And then, to be honest, I didn't even think about it until probably 4 weeks ago because the decision had been made. I was planning what I was going to do next year, and then I guess just circumstances sort of changed a bit 3 or 4 weeks ago. And, I've been speaking quite a lot to Mick in the last couple of weeks and forced me to have a rethink. And, as I said, if things go to plan the next 3 weeks, I'll be back next year.
So a month ago you were gone, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yep. Was clear in your mind. Had you advised Mick and the people at Carlton?
I'd spoken to some people at Carlton, and I'd told all my family and friends that I was done. And once I make a decision, I'm really good at finding evidence as to why it's a good decision, and hence I'm able to follow through with it wholeheartedly. So I was sort of going through that process. And then, as I said, just circumstances changed, and I thought there's no use being stubborn about it, and here we are.
So what did Beck say when you said, I'm the house husband from next year? Is she pleased? Does she want you to play on?
She was pretty neutral. She was initially really surprised that I was thinking about going on because I'd been so clear that wasn't going to happen. But look, she's really supportive and happy husband, happy life doesn't rhyme, but I guess it's the same as happy wife, happy life. So she's happy if I'm happy.
You came to Carlton with a view, I suspect, to win a flag at 2 clubs. If you leave Carlton without a flag, will it be a great personal blow?
It'll certainly be disappointing. That was the task set. That was the measure of if my time at Carlton was successful. There'd be an element of disappointment if that doesn't happen in my time.
So there's been a lot of discussion, given Mick Malthouse's comments about where the Blues were initially. Where are you as a club? Where do you see yourselves as a competitive unit?
Yeah, well, I think there's been a real turning of the corner, if you like, probably the last 6 or 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that's probably one of the other reasons that I've been enjoying my footy so much. It's probably the first time in the 7 years I've been at the club where there's a real evenness in the competitiveness of the playing group, if you like, where you run on the field with the 22 guys playing with you, and you're generally confident that they all really want to win. And that sounds like it is grade 2 learner stuff and should always happen, but that probably hasn't always been the case at our footy club, and that makes for footy to be a really enjoyable game when that is happening. And we're not confused as to where we sit. We're 13th on the ladder and have a lot of improving to do, but I think we're at a bit of a point that some things have changed for the better.
Two-part question. Firstly, looking ahead to your personal year next season, do you want any sort of role change? Do you expect to spend the same amount of time in midfield, or do you want to spend more time forward, perhaps?
I expect probably a similar sort of role, but talking to Mick, I probably don't expect to try and play 22 games. So that's something we'll nut out in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, and whether we shoot for 18 home and away games or whatever it be, that's probably where the tinkering will occur.
And a few weeks ago, a certain journalist, might have been Robbo, suggested you could do some good run with roles. How receptive would you have been to that?
An expert commentator, Robbo. That was I actually saw that article, so that was an interesting one.
So you are reading articles these days.
Yeah, look, we've all got to grow, Mike. But no, I've changed a lot of things. I'm reading articles now, so times have changed.
I want to ask you, you finished your 6-year contract at the end of 2013.
Yes.
This year, did you go to Carlton and say you were prepared to take a 50% pay cut?
Going into this year,
Yep.
well, I took a pay cut, yeah, but I don't talk numbers
Ballpark?
publicly. Yeah,
Ballpark?
around about that.
Cut it in half? And it was your initiative.
Well, I don't think it was argued over, if I recall. And I mean,
Of course, they're not going to argue over it if they've saved half of your money.
Yeah, but that was probably fair enough. I mean, I haven't even discussed terms with them on this new agreement, which is probably a pretty poor strategic move commercially. But look, I'm sure the club will be fair, and I'll be fair, and we'll get on with next year. My objective is to not try and squeeze every dollar out of the footy club. It's to try and contribute and enjoy another year at Carlton.
Juddy, how do you think Mark Murphy's thrived since taking over the captaincy?
He's doing a great job. He's he's really grown into it, and I think me stepping aside has been a real positive to give blokes like him, Cade Simpson, Andrew Cavazzo, that room to grow and emerge as really strong leaders in our footy club. That I think our footy club's a lot stronger for it.
So tell us about Jeff Garlett and Mitch Robinson, and how you deal with them as a leadership group, how you deal with them personally, and whether or not you think there's a role for them next year.
Yeah, look, I think there is a role for them next year. You've got to try and keep these things in perspective. They were out late and they got bashed. They didn't assault anyone. Their crime is being out late. And I'm sure all of us on the couch have been out at 5 o'clock in the morning. We just weren't unlucky enough to get assaulted. So sometimes it's important to keep these things in perspective. The issue was the mistruths that came along with that. And that was the disappointing part.
What do you mean, Chris? What do you mean by that?
Well, they weren't completely forthright that they were both there.
Oh, I see. They didn't own up. Yeah.
The lies.
Yeah.
Mistruths was a cute way of terming it. But look, and that's born out of the pressure that's on young footy players these days, which is a pretty unusual environment. But that was a bit disappointing. But look, those guys have 4 weeks to really earn back the respect of our playing group, and we certainly haven't drawn the line through them.
If Mick said to you, Juddy, what should we do with Mitch Robinson? Should we burn him or keep him? What would you say?
I think he's still got plenty to offer our footy club.
Okay. Talking about futures of 2 other blokes, Jared Waite and Matthew Cruiser.
Yep.
Waite will stay, do you think?
I don't know. I really think he should.
Should the club offer him 2 years to make sure he does stay?
I don't know. I mean, it's really not my area of expertise. But he's certainly playing great footy for us. He's a respected member of the group, and he's incredibly important. And I think after all he's been through with the footy club, in terms of the lean years, I think it would be a smart decision on his behalf to be a part of what's coming as well.
We're going to see the best. I mean, Cruiser's a #1 draft pick.
Yep.
Looked like he was going to be a star. Do you expect that we will see the best of him at some time in the not too distant future?
Yeah, I think so. I think the older I get in footy, the less impressed I am with talent, and the less I think it's important in achieving success. And Cruz obviously has talent, but the thing that's really important with Cruz is his competitiveness and his ambition, and he's got incredible drive to achieve. And I think in the long run, that'll hold him in really good stead.
The other bloke who's got a little bit of everything, but has got a bit of a flaw in his kicking is Levi Casbolt. Now, you've had some early history with him, but he seems to be one of your most improved players.
He has. He's going really well. He's, as you say, he's got his warts, but his kicking's actually improved a lot and continues to improve, and his marking's at a really high standard. So, You know, we just need to make sure he doesn't taper off for the end of the year. He's probably in his first full season, and in your first full season, you start to get a little bit tired at this time of the year. But we need him to really finish off strongly, so that he goes into next year in good nick.
You've been the consummate professional for so long in every aspect of the game, but is there anything about the game or the lifestyle of a footballer that you'd love to change or that you don't like?
Oh, there's challenges, but I think when you're in a fortunate enough and really privileged position that I am and that other footy players are, it sounds a bit sooky if you complain too much publicly about the challenges, because we have a great job, we get remunerated well to be fit and healthy and do something we love with our mates. So complaining about things publicly is probably a bad look.
Johnny, we talked before about players ducking their heads in the belief that if you put it down and gets hit, you're going to get a free kick. Is it a problem for the game?
What's a problem for the blokes if they duck their head and they get knocked out?
Yeah, but they're prepared to take that risk, aren't they?
Yeah, but the good thing about it is I don't think the umps have been paying that many free kicks for it this year. I think years gone by, blokes were doing that and getting free kicks. I think this year blokes are doing that and sometimes they're hitting themselves, but they're not really getting free kicks.
Tommy Lynch got a free kick and clearly put his head down into an oncoming opponent, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but I reckon it's been less common that they're
Would you
getting
support
paid.
that being a free kick against Lynch?
No, not running to someone with your head in their guts. Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about it too much. Probably not. Adding too many rules, I think it'll sort itself out. If you're not getting a free kick and you're breaking your neck, you'll stop doing it pretty quickly.
That's the solution, yeah.
Now, Mike put together a little package of your tackles. And
Yeah.
he wanted me to bring it up
did,
because he was worried about it.
I did, yeah.
About grabbing an arm of a player. Now, we see a number of these. It's a great way to stop them getting a hand pass away.
Yeah.
But you've just got to be careful how far you actually drag the arm. These are just, I suspect it's not a particular strategy or tactic of yours. It just happens that's the part of the body you can grab.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, glad you put together this package, Mike. Yeah, look, it's not been a conscious strategy, but it's certainly an effective way to stop them getting rid of the ball.
You're a squib, you are.
What about free agency? Is it good or bad for clubs, or is it just too early to tell?
Yeah, I think we're still in the teething process, but I think overall it was important. Yeah. I liked I can't remember exactly what Hardwick's view on it was, but I remember reading that and thinking that it had some merit. Can you remember what his view was?
Well, I think what he said was that it should be limited to the sides outside of the top four.
That's right. So that's a good rule until we get in the top four.
That's right.
Chris, how did my nephew go at the weekend?
He went well.
Kieran
He went great,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, I didn't realise he was your nephew.
Yeah,
Claiming
he
him,
was.
eh?
My Irish nephew, yeah.
He waited till he
we
bounced the ball a couple
like
of
the
times.
Irish kids, they can all kick, can't they?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Can he bounce though?
No, he can't bounce yet. It's a remarkable effort. 14 games of footy. I mean, even the first game AFL players usually probably played 200 games of footy from all their junior games. So for him to do what he did after 14 games was a great effort, and he's just got to stay hungry now and keep improving for us and be bigger and better next year.
Can the Blues play finals next year?
Yeah, look, of course we can. At this stage, 18 teams can. It's one of those questions journos love asking. The important thing for us is we keep improving. We know there's a big gap between us and the good teams, and we need to improve as quickly as possible, and that's our focus.
And
Who wins the flag?
This year,
Yep.
Sydney. For mine.
Okay.
And a word on the Gold Coast, who didn't bring their best game against the Blues on the weekend.
Yeah, I like the Gold Coast. I think a lot of their kids are good players now and going to be really good players. They just seemed like they were starting to tire a bit, I think. Yep.
Chris, you've been great tonight. It's been good to see you smiling and effusive in your thoughts, and it's great to have one of the greats continuing his career for another 12 months. Thanks for your time tonight and good luck for next year.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Juddy.
Chris Judd, our special guest. Plenty more to come, including the Couch's favourite player.